And we're back with Harrowings Live. Hal Gill, your host. This is the passing show. Just a little bit of who, what, when, and where. Doing a little walking as usual. Probably heading down towards DuPont Circle eventually. But I don't know exactly. I think I might do a little hill work. Was feeling really under the weather yesterday. This, again, is a bit of who, what, when, and where. Primary documentation, essentially. Historians in the future. Getting in a little bit of the local flavor on Connecticut Avenue this morning. Heading up hill. Folks heading downhill. Thought it'd be nicer to go up this way this morning, get a few more extra steps in. Still heading down to our normal coffee shop rendezvous. Rendezvous. There we go. I'll probably wrap before ordering. Thinking about what I really need. I don't need much. Thinking about cutting expenses. Not getting as many paid subscribers as I need on Substack, so keep going. This is also the publishing arm of the Hal Gill Foundation, of which I am the executive director and sole employer. So, an employee. But being the sole source of income from the company, all it generates are losses. And that's not so great. The losses this year are likely to be much more than last year. And it's a little bit daunting running a company like that, which is focused primarily on keeping the legacy of my late father alive. I've instantiated it, so to speak, on a platform, have a website, have a lot of his work digitized now in a digital format anyway, and preserving as much of them as I possibly can. I don't know if he had set it up this way or it was a decision of the executor of his estate and sister, but his presence on Facebook was completely erased. And it's kind of a loss to me. I know my sister didn't agree with his picks in many cases, so probably did want to do him the honor of erasing him. But, it's nice to preserve him there as sort of a monument. Digital traces is well remembered by most of the historians who knew him as a historian of some integrity, heavily researched, somewhat published. Had a really nice portrait of it done by Wayne Barrett, who was the editor of the Colonial Williamsburg News, and apparently the person who had the original idea for the present-day Smithsonian magazine. So I'm thinking getting up at the Smithsonian American Art Museum and Portrait Gallery to see if they would like to have a portrait of my father for their collection by Wayne Barrett, who has a tie to the Smithsonian and certainly was editor of the Colonial Williamsburg Journal during its heyday. My father was consulting editor during that time. And between the two of them, they laid down a lot of quality scholarship for people to enjoy as an adjunct to the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation's work, which is ongoing, coming up on a century now. My father gave about 54 years to the foundation from 1961 through to 2014 or 15 when they rolled him off of that role as consulting editor without really any notice to speak of, which I thought was really shoddy. But, that's the way the cookie crumbles as you get on up in years and new blood comes in who may or may not have an understanding of the old ways of the journal. The journal itself disappeared and became trend and tradition, more of a glossy kind of thing that is supposed to grab the viewer. I think in some ways, my old employer too, for 20 years, not the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation, sometimes shoots itself in the foot as its own best friend. But it's hard to figure out what's going to really gel with humanity these days to make folks sit up and take notice. I remember it wasn't too long ago, they did a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know what that cost them to do, but it really stirred things up with running history backwards and, among other things, showing the Twin Towers falling up. Insensitive, tone deaf. And when it was pointed out, they tried to defend themselves versus really getting a handle on what they might have done wrong there and owning it and opening up a conversation with those who were pointing it out. Yeah, we do the best we can with what we have, and it's very often ego that gets in our way. So that's one of the things I've been talking to my AI assistants about and other people who are involved in the frontiers of artificial intelligence. It's just that, we humans have this amygdala driven kind of background where we're not really rational. Our prefrontal cortex is a relatively late addition, which has allowed the species to survive and cooperate so that our technology could advance to where it is today. And provided we can sustain it, or it can sustain itself, which seems to me to be a primary goal, is to get self-sustaining technology that can go on without our oversight. I think it's incredibly important. It could also help us save ourselves as a species and evolve appropriately. I'm thinking about our creative abilities, our imaginations that are hard to reduce to ones and zeros. Our free association, our emotions, they can be very useful for creative work. So we should play to the better angels of our nature. Our egos, our fears, our tendencies to be emotional and to protect ourselves and, against particularly change or alteration of the world as it seems to be getting away from us. It's kind of like how parents have a threshold to go through as their children become adults and stop being children. That's a huge transition, never really completes it, I think. Anyhow, you get the point. I get the point anyway, as I'm talking to myself and a few of you. Let's see who's here. John Marshall, good morning. Back again. Kaylee, are you on your way to the waterfront? No, I'm not. The bigger lie, the storm rider, Clancy Steadwell, Jacqueline Fritwell. Well, it's really nice to have all of you with us. I'm not heading to the waterfront today. I could go down to the wharf. That's one place to go. And instead, I just did sort of a big loop above Connecticut Avenue, over on T, down, I think that's 19th Street, or a spur. Yeah. Oh, it was part of T that was on there. And then walked on down here where there's this nice little restaurant called, it's called Emissary Pergamino, which was my mainstay for my morning hours. But these days, I don't feel like going there. There's a new place, Daily Provisions, down the block. I do feel like going to. It's 8:02 a.m. Love the flowers here at the Nelson. And I like to stop by and check those out. I like to check out the diversity of the flora and the fauna in Washington, D.C. But yeah, all those things. There's something going on the waterfront, I wonder, that somebody knows something about? I don't know. I've got some other things going on today. At 11:30, I'm going to be leading a Zoom meeting of the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. That'll be on one called Upon Awakening. It's based out of Oregon. It can be found at aa-intergroup.org. And sharing that openly in case anybody wants to attend an AA meeting at 11:30 this morning on Eastern Time. It's 8:30 on Pacific Time. So I got to get my head together for that. Then at 3 p.m., I'm going to try to go live on Substack with Eric Knudsen. And we've been sharing a few notes lately. He's gotten kind of excited, likes my vibe. That's nice. I'm going to try to keep it clean, but as Eric's pointed out, he has a tendency, as I do, to throw in occasional colorful terms into the mix. So we take our chances. I don't know what we're going to get up to talking about, but we're going to find out what lights up things for Eric. He's pretty prolific on Facebook. A lot of his quotations really grab me. He had one on Nietzsche recently. And yeah, so that'll be fun. If things go right, I'm working on getting Amy Neumann out too. She's a published author of, Ways to Change the World. I think 500 Ways to Change the World, as well as Empower Your Nonprofit Using Artificial Intelligence. So we can talk about that. She's big into lobbying with blockchain, those technologies and Bitcoin and such here in DC when she comes through at different conferences. And yeah, should be interesting. Let's see, we've got some of the other usual suspects about. And nothing coming on our streets I'm going to cross as well. What? That's our streets walk sign is on. You may have heard the automatic announcement going there. The bus is down to the Kennedy Center, I think, rolling by. D72. Well, maybe that's not to the Kennedy Center. Maybe that's actually to somewhere else. Don't ride the bus much myself. I do take the metro on occasion. The entrance to the metro just down the block at DuPont Circle. Take you just about anywhere you want to go. And many times I want to go somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to do something like that, but one of the things I like to do is go to places like airports and see the crossing of people. Union Station has been one of our recent locations for our expeditions. Passing by Psychic Daniela's place, $5 to get you a reading. Palm and tarot reading, chakra balancing, metaphysical healing, offers help for all areas of life. Never used her. But if anybody does want to, if you believe, it'll work. If you don't, or she doesn't, it won't. That's kind of what's called the dodo paradox in one of the readings I did. It's also related to an article a friend of mine talked about called The Power of Nothing. Power of nothing. Nothing works most of the time. Usual suspects. All are welcome. Sabino. So I'm reading the signs as I go along. Lots of signs and wonders. And we keep going. Jogger. Look at all these people. Everybody's the center of their own universe. And what else do we want to say about that? I don't know. Krishna Domine joined. CRPS Angel of Hope joined. Debbie Dale Blackwell, Bob Hebeke, and Ebicor, and Kaylee John Marshall. So good morning. I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. 10 of you. And that is nice to have 10 other people viewing the passing show. It's a glorious morning here at DuPont Circle. It's cool, maybe below normal temperatures. And this is where I'm going to go to get my food. So we'll end here. Thanks for joining again.